How's it going, guys? So I am here with your Raw review, and we're going to be talking about Legends Night. But before I do, let me just tell you about my WWE 2K14 retrospective. I know not all my subs are crazy about video game content on this channel. It shows in the views, but hey, why don't you check out the retrospective on a wrestling video game? Come on, guys. I know you want to see that. I hope you want to see that. I enjoyed making it, and yeah, so check that out. You guys can you can find the link to it right here. I'm gonna put it up there for you. So if you want to click on it and watch it after this video, I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, this is 2021, guys. This is now my 11th year here on YouTube, right? No, wait a minute. What is it? Yeah, it's no, 12 years, right? 2009 to 2021. Yeah, this is my 12th year. Wow. So yeah, I lose track of time sometimes, guys, but yeah. Wow, this has been a long time here on YouTube. And I've got 7,000 views, which is nothing to sneeze at. What else do I want to say here in the beginning before we move on to Legends Night? Also, check out, if you guys are into politics, check out the Brad Rules USA, which is a great channel. Another channel that I would like to get off the ground, because I'm not fully comfortable with putting my political videos back on here. So if you're interested in that, we talk about a number of different things. We'll talk about the pandemic, talk about the election. So if you're into that sort of thing, I know not everyone on this channel is into that, but I know there is a good amount of people who are. If you want, go over to that channel, subscribe to it. I think you'll enjoy what you see if you're into that. So anyway, though, but for everyone else, let's get into Legends Night Raw, which this might be my last Raw review, because I think I'm going to honor the poll that a lot of people actually participated in, more than I really thought. So people are very interested in that. If I could put out one of those little community posts and I could get like 80 votes on it, that means that a lot of people ignore those things unless they're from like really major YouTubers. But I like to consider that I got a pretty close-knit following, so a lot of my closest subscribers obviously participated in that one. So I want to appreciate you for taking the time to do that. And most people voted for SmackDown almost unanimously. There was some votes for Raw. It seemed close a little bit, but SmackDown pretty much won out. I think a lot of people like when I take shots at Kevin Owens, so that might have something to do with it. I don't know. But anyway, we start off with Hulk Hogan. Now, how could you go wrong with Hulk Hogan, guys, right? Hogan, one of the greatest superstars of all time. One of my favorite superstars of all time. One of the biggest draws in WWE history. How does he get stuck with a segment like this? So, let me lay it out for you. I would recommend that you go watch this. It's not like WWE deserves the views on the YouTube video. But, I mean, this is just like, if you want to start off a show on probably the lowest note possible while using one of the most over charismatic individuals, not just in wrestling, but of all pop culture, this is probably the way that you should do it. If you wanted to like do a how-to of how to write a poorly done wrestling show, because the introduction is everything, guys. During the Attitude Era, you would never have a slow start. You would never have something boring in the beginning. You wouldn't have someone, who wasn't popular kicking off your show. No, big stars up front, which Hulk Hogan is there. But, there's something, you gotta grab them. You gotta draw people in. There has to be a hook, right? Or, you're not going to hook anyone in with boring crap, boring bullshit, right? So this is what we get. A phone is face down. Hulk Hogan is telling us that this is an H phone, like an iPhone. Instead of it's an H phone. Oh, this is great stuff, right? Right, because H comes before I. Ooh, this is alphabetical humor. Oh man, So this is just brilliant comedy here. So it could do all the things that an iPhone could do and everything that a normal cell phone could do. But he flips the phone over and it's a picture of Hulk Hogan. And who's holding the phone? Oh, I don't know. Ben Stiller? No, Hulk Hogan is holding the phone, of course. So then it's just, he says it, and it could also make calls, and I'm like, what? Huh? Like what's going on here? What, like, was this supposed to be a parody of something? Like, I get the parody. It's an H phone instead of an iPhone. Hey, whoa, whoa. I mean, that's just too much comedy. I mean, that tickled my funny bones so much it almost put me in a coma. But guys, I don't know what they were thinking here. This was a travesty. To kick this show off, I don't know if they still have something against Hogan and they were trying to make him look like a goof, because I can't see Hogan doing this segment himself. Like, this couldn't have been his material. This was way too poor. This was like bargain bin writing. Like, how the hell does this even... How does this get... You know, it's not like this is something that gets lost in the middle of the show, somewhere into the second hour, where they don't even give a shit anymore. This is right at the beginning. This is the intro. How do you miss this? I mean, this is Legends Night, your premier legend, and this is the way you're kicking it off? Alright, I don't want to get hung up on this. This just sucked, guys. So it's like, I don't want to get too hung up on it, because we have a lot to cover here. There's a lot of different segments, a lot of different backstage stuff, and we've got a lot of material to work with here, thankfully, which will make for a good video. But, I mean, God. So we get Miz TV, and they're interviewing the New Day, but the New Day is like interviewing Miz and Morrison, and Morrison is portrayed as to be a total fucking moron, because he's like going along with the New Day skits, even though he's supposed to be the heel. So he's the idiotic heel. And he's like getting into all these different skits. And Kofi is got to be like the most annoying person, you know, that I've ever heard. Correct! He said it so many times. And it wasn't funny the first time. It wasn't funny the second time. It wasn't funny when he drew it out for like 10 seconds. I mean, holy shit. Have mercy, man. Holy cow. Have mercy, bro. I mean, how many times could someone say the same thing that's not funny and not over and not good? I mean, and they're cheering this, except the fact that there's not real people there. These are piped in cheers. So here's their chance to get something over that's not really over. Boy, are they in for a shock when the live crowds come back in. I mean, half the stuff that they think is over, that they want to be over, is not going to be over. And I don't even... I'm going to tell you something. Live attendance is definitely going to be down. Because I'm telling you, there's going to be people... there's going to be people that are going to be too scared to go back in the arenas to begin with. So they've already got to contend with that, and then on top of that, you've also have a dying product with ratings that are in the toilet. So that's definitely not going to help. I'm telling you, this pandemic it's going to spell a really bad spell for wrestling, if it hasn't already. I mean, this is just, wow. So this brings out Teddy Long. So they do like this cooking, try to do like, he puts on, Xavier Woods puts on the chef's hat. It's just the most kindergarten-esque stuff you could possibly come up with. Morrison, I love Judge Judy. Yeah, he actually said that. Just horrible in every way. You got Kofi saying, "Oh, well, every show should have a bailiff," and Xavier Woods takes out a fake badge. Like seriously. USA Network tells them they want a more adult show, and this is what they get in exchange. Oh yeah, no, they've been using the word ass a lot more and other things like that and calling people bitches, but you still got this garbage, this PG juvenile garbage. I mean, like, what are they thinking putting this stuff out there? I mean, really horrendous. So Teddy Long comes out and he says that Miz and Morrison are going to face The Undertaker. Scrap Iron Adam Pearce comes out. He quickly tells him, obviously The Undertaker's not there anymore. I guess that's a little bit funny. But instead he makes a tag match. So they're making fun of tag matches. And the thing is, at least the tag matches that Teddy Long made were actually good tag matches. Not to say I don't like Miz and Morrison as a team, but I've already said this week after week. These guys have moved beyond being a team. They needed to be a team when they were up-and-comers. Guys, they're not up-and-comers anymore. I mean, Morrison, has already been in main events and elimination chambers, matches with Sheamus. I don't know how from the return, from like being there in 2011 to the return, how he fell so far. And now everyone just reverts back to a tag team. Like, I'm sorry, but Morrison has more charisma, has more of a look than half these people. And sitting across from them, you've got Kofi and Xavier. Like, there's nothing there here. I know some people mistake this as charisma, and I'm not saying that these guys don't try, but there's also something called trying too hard. It's not funny. It's just really bad material. So they had this match, and like, they were being super over the top in this one. Kofi was twerking like they were way more annoying than normal. I don't know if it was like this was their way of bringing in the new year, but just stop. Look, I know I complain about that the wrestlers need to show more personality, that there's not enough charisma, but then there's also just going a little bit too much with it. And this was way too much, way too much. You're twerking. A male is shaking their ass on live TV to another wrestler. This is something that we need to see, really. I mean, the USA Network tells them that they want a more adult product, and this is what we get. The girls should be shaking their asses, not the fucking men on the show. I mean, holy cow. You've got Randy Orton up next in an interview. And also, did I even say that the New Day beats Miz and Morrison? So there we go. Miz and Morrison losing again. Anyway, let's get past it already. Let's jump into Orton's promo here. Orton says that he doesn't want to talk about The Fiend. Probably because they have nothing left to say about it. Where is this going to go? He didn't end up lighting Alexa Bliss on fire. So, and he said he regrets it. And, Charlie tries to ask him about The Fiend, but he says, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. And then he says, I just want to go for a walk and talk to some legends. And we're going to get to this later on. We'll go through all the backstage segments. But man, oh man, like, it's so obvious that they don't know where to go with. They burned The Fiend, which I said that I liked that they did that. I know I might be in the minority, but I enjoyed what I saw. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't sitting there entertained and liking what I was seeing. But like I said, I should have known. Every single time there's an up, there's a major, major down. And the Alexa Bliss thing, I already told you I didn't care for that segment, and now they have no follow-up. Orton just wants to go for a stroll. That's how he's going to deal with almost lighting a woman on fire and lighting a man on fire. Let's just go for a stroll and talk to some people. Great follow-up there, guys. Excellent one. Then we've got Angel Garza, who actually remembered his name this time. You know how many times I wanted to call him Hector? I finally remembered. It's Angel. It's Angel Garza, okay? So Angel Garza's still got the rose. I don't know where this is going. He's still looking for the love of his life. He talks to Alicia Fox. Fox mentions some TikTok video. He hasn't seen the video. She walks away. Okay, I don't know about this. They consider Alicia Fox to be a legend. I'm saying Alicia Fox has personality. She has charisma. She's a decent talent. But, dear Lord, I mean, a legend? I mean, I know she's been there for a while. She's worked for the company for like 12 years. But a legend? Like, I was listening to Cornette say this when his opinions on Legends Night. I've been listening to more of Cornette lately. The guy's a nut. I don't like how he threatened Russo, but I do like some of his commentary, even if I disagree with a lot of it. And he talked about who is everyone a legend just because you worked there a long time ago. That's a very interesting point. You know, is everyone a legend just because they worked there like a while ago? And I don't know. You know, you really have to analyze it. You know, I mean, like, you've got Mantar that's talked about a lot, right? You've got the Goon who's talked about a lot, right? But are they really, like, legends? I don't think so. No, I mean, we don't have anyone that caliber there. Anyway, so you've got Garza tries to hand Mickey James the rose, but Sargent sort of grabs it instead. Tatanka's there. He don't really say that much. He's just kind of standing there. Again, you know, more legends just standing around. I guess they did it a little bit better, but there was still some other legends that they had that didn't even really do anything. You know, they didn't even put them in any skits or segments or anything. So, you know, Sarge grabs it and then gives it to Mickey James. And, you know, it just kind of feels weird because Mickey James was just there like not even a year ago. And she's already now relegated to just being a silent legend just standing around. You know, it's like they're just like lined up conveniently talking. It's like they're not even sitting down. Why is it like everyone's backstage just standing up all the time? Like, it's just completely unrealistic. All these legends are just, you know, littered all over the place, just in the back, talking amongst themselves, probably saying, what the hell am I doing? How am I going to spend my money, you know, my payday, you know, once I'm done here? I mean, like, they're paying these people to just stand around and do nothing. It's a great payday, but man, it's not a very effective use of some of these people that could be, you know, involved in some interesting segments, like Sergeant Slaughter. Like, instead of just having him call Garza a maggot, how about doing something interesting? How about him interacting with somebody else? I mean, yeah, like, they use up Sergeant Slaughter on Angel Garza, of all people. That's the interaction for the night. See you later, Sarge. It was great knowing you. Anyway, we've got AJ Styles defeating Elias again. We saw a Styles clash, which is very rare to see from AJ finishing a match. He mostly does the forearm. I don't get this here. Also, you've got Jackson Riker. He runs in. He tries to hit AJ with the guitar, but almost he almost hit him with the, like, that's confusing. Anyway, no, but AJ's bodyguard almost. He kicks the guitar. It explodes, and it didn't even look like a really like hard kick. It really just shows that guitar was like made out of like sawdust. Just like explodes into pieces with like minimal contact. Anyway, Jackson Riker just stares and he runs away. Like, this is supposed to be the bodyguard. Elias hired him to be a coward. Like, we didn't even get at least a few weeks of Jackson Riker looking tough. You know, he's already being made to look like a goofball by the Lucha House Party, like, within the first week of him being there in that spot. I mean, they waste no time ruining people. It's like, you know, what? Oh, we got your new spot? Okay, quickly, let's job you out right away. Like, what is this doing here? You beat Elias 2 weeks in a row, and for what reason? What did AJ gain out of this? What did Elias get out of this? Absolutely, positively fucking nothing. No one gained anything. No one's a bigger star. No, like, AJ gets a strong win, a solid win, guys. Yeah, great stuff. Orton is backstage with Big Show, and this was just weird. Matt Riddle was talking to Big Show. He calls him the Big Bro. Okay, great. Orton grabs Big Show around the neck, and Big Show won't do anything. This was the weirdest, like, what was even going on here? I don't understand. Like, he's got Big Show around his neck, and Big Show's all calm with it. Like, I get it's not affecting him, but the guy is trying to goose you around the throat, and you're like, cool, you're sitting back. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? This show just has such a weird vibe to it. It really is just some like weirdo, bizarre show. It feels like a circus. Like at least a circus would be entertaining. You know, at least a circus would be more organized. You know, that's the thing. People call like things that are out of control and unorganized circuses, but circuses actually have a ringmaster, and they actually have things nicely laid out. You know, you've got different rings, right? You've got the elephants over there, you got the swinging trapeze over there, so it's really kind of organized, right? Compared to this, which is like, I mean, honestly, I don't know, like, how are they formatting this show? So, like, how is this that you've got Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon, who are veterans, who know, like, what it takes, right? I mean, even when Vince Russo wasn't there, I don't know if it was Brian Jurwitz or whatever the hell it was, but, like, McMahon had to have known what a good wrestling show is. He's seen it a number of times. And so they call the legends back. And I gotta tell you, like, this show is even worse than last week's show. Because this just shows that they have no idea what to do with the legends. Orton is back to being a legend killer, even though he's a legend himself now. And he's not the young scamp who is trying to make a name off of himself with legends, which made sense in the first place. So anyway, yeah, you've got Orton just bullying Big Show. Big Show's barely reacting for some reason. You've got Lacey Evans, who pops out of nowhere, teaming with Peyton Royce to defeat Charlotte and Asuka. And now this is probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. The finish to this match was Goofball Central. So I had to actually watch the finish twice, because I wasn't sure if I understood it correctly. Ric Flair grabs Charlotte's boot, right? And I was like, okay, I didn't really like see what, you know, when you're like watching something, I know, and I was paying attention, but it doesn't really register. Then I'm listening to Tom Phillips, and you know, you've got Samoa Joe and Byron Saxton like arguing about, was it an accident? And Tom Phillips is insisting like, well, it didn't look like an accident. And I turned it back, and it's like, there's no way that it could have been an accident, because you've got Lacey Evans and Charlotte, or whoever it was, if it was Peyton, whoever it was, they're doing the Irish whip. And I was like, okay, maybe Flair wasn't looking and he mistook. You know, they've done that spot before. Sometimes they'll trip up the other wrestler by accident because they'll counter at the last second. No, but this was like clearly at the last moment. And the thing is, there's no way it could be an accident, because Charlotte confronts Ric Flair at the end and says like, you know, I want you away from me again. Because remember when they had the fight where she turned heel for the first time and she told Flair to beat it? I don't know, but this really looked like a Sleepy Joe moment to me, to be quite honest. Flair like grabbing the leg, and this was a work, obviously. I don't know if they purposely wanted to try to confuse people, or maybe if this is an angle where they're gonna be like Flair is getting senile. I don't know if they've got a Sleepy Joe, you know, type of angle planned here. But man, oh man, it looked horrible. Like, honestly, like, even if they've got something creative in mind, like, this is how you're going to do Flair? You're going to have him look like a goofy old man? And then Charlotte gets in his face and tells him to go. And he goes. And he's got, like, his head down. And I'm like, holy shit, like, talk about humiliating the guy. I mean, this is a guy that, like, just recently he was in a rap video. This is a guy who beat death. He stared death in the face just about a year ago as well. I mean, Ric Flair is one of the toughest sons of bitches you'll probably ever come across. And he's getting bullied by his daughter. He should be sending her to her fucking room. And he's getting bullied. This was a pathetic display, to say the least. I'm staring at this show being like, what? Are you kidding me? Flair getting bullied by Charlotte? Anyway, why am I even like surprised by this? I mean, I just noticed that they're really like not even trying. We're not even done here. We've got a segment backstage with Hogan, Drew McIntyre, and Jimmy Hart. Sheamus is there. This was okay. It's, it's the bare minimum. Drew does the what you gonna do. Keith Lee, when Hulk Hogan and I come after you, but Hogan's not even in the match. So like, okay. I don't know. He wished them good luck, so I guess it's like the power of Hulkamania compels him or something. I don't know. Like I'm saying, it's so bare minimum. Like they don't even care. Just Hogan, do your thing, and like no interesting angles. You can't take advantage of the fact that, like I'm saying, even TNA, for God's sakes, even Impact Wrestling did something more interesting with Hogan. Even if it wasn't particularly good, they still had the mindset, like, let's do something with this man. Like, why don't we make Hogan the GM for the night? No. Like, instead we just give that one single spot to Teddy Long to make a tag match, and it's over and done with. Matt Riddle has a match with Lashley. Lashley gets the roll-up pin. Oh, and this is something that we didn't even talk about. Not only did we get we got a few roll-up pins on this show. We got a roll-up pin with the Charlotte and Asuka match. We got a roll-up pin with this match. Lashley is distracted. For some reason, he thinks that Riddle tapped out, so he lets him go, and then he manages to recover, and he does a schoolboy, and somehow Lashley has like all his strength, but he just can't get out of this crazy one-armed schoolboy. I am so sick to death of that finish right there. How many times are they going to do that finish? Constantly, repeatedly, schoolboy here, schoolboy there. I mean, you just had a schoolboy, and now you're doing another schoolboy. And that's the way how the match ends. And Riddle gets the victory over Lashley. So, they were building Lashley up. He wasn't getting beaten. He was beating Jeff Hardy with the Hurt Lock, and I was like, oh, they're starting to build him, and then they beat him. Is anyone allowed to have a winning streak? For God's sakes, could even a mammoth of a man like Bobby Lashley be allowed to have a win? Could someone maybe win 3 weeks in a row? Is that possible? Can anyone do that? No, you're lucky if you get 2 weeks in a row when it comes to a WWE show. No one gets any, like, strings of victories. That's the thing. They're always talking about winning and losing matches. Like, that's what matters, right? Well, here we go, and no one can string together a series of wins. Even if you're world champion, you can't even manage to do that. What's up next? We got Orton and Mark Henry. This is probably the most embarrassing segment I've ever seen. So, Mark Henry obviously hurt his leg. He's on one of those scooters that you put your knee up on. And like, okay, first of all, my opinion on this, Mark, if you're hurt, don't come there looking hurt like that. Seriously, man. I know you want a payday and everything, but we've got this image of the world's strongest man. I know they jobbed him out towards the end, but people can forget, right? Come back for the next Legends show, Mark. No, but Mark shows up on the scooter. He's scooting down the hall, scooting his, like his life depends on it. Trying to make it away across the hallway, and Orton confronts him. And Orton gets in his face, and he talks about, when Mark Henry took the title from him in 2011, and, he makes fun of him being on the scooter, and then after he's done making fun of him, he tells Henry to go, and just like Charlotte did to Ric Flair, He goes. He scoots down the hall, and his head is down, just like Ric Flair. Like, they repeated the same segment. I was thinking maybe Henry would like rear back and it wouldn't matter if he was on the scooter. You'd still punch him in the face or clothesline him. But I guess he was legitimately hurt, so they didn't want to risk it. But I was like, holy shit. They just made Henry look like a little bitch, really. I hate to reuse that term that they've been using constantly. That's the Kevin Owens line. But really, I mean, they made him look like a pussy here. And I don't know. I don't think any amount of money is worth that kind of public humiliation. Like, Mark, I think you got enough money, man. Do you really need to get on national TV and be humiliated like that and talked down to? Like, even a guy like Randy Orton, who's a legend, like, he's okay with this to get there. And, like, I understand they want to get him heat and everything. But, like, all these, he's got Big Show around the throat, Mark Henry, and, like, no one's doing anything to him. And the thing is, actually, when Orton is doing these promos, it's actually really good, by the way. Like, I can't knock any of the content because he's doing a good job being a heel. He truly is. But it's just the fact that he's able to just humiliate these legends and they're not saying anything. And they're all guys that could honestly kick his ass, and they have done so in the past. It's very humiliating for them. I mean, honestly, like, it was a little bit hard to watch, especially this Mark Henry one. Especially with him scooting away at the end. You've got a match planned. It's Mandy Rose, almost forgot her name, and Shayna Baszler, but Shayna manages to beat her to the ring, and she attacks her before the match. Dana Brooke comes down the ramp, and this is probably my favorite part of the show. She's shaking uncontrollably, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a 5-star match. That's something Meltzer will never understand. Oh man, good stuff right there. But anyway, this was a goofball match. Now, after I talk about something like that, can I really talk about a wrestling match? Well, I have to, right? Because that's the reason why I'm making the video. So you've got Dana Brooke here, and she's in the whatever the hell that move is called, that coquina clutch style thing. Oh, the barracuda clutch. I can never remember whatever the stupid name she calls it. She's got her locked into that. And Dana, how do you think she beats her? She beats her with a roll up. And as she's rolling her up, Shayna's still got her in the move, still got her in the submission. Like, she doesn't notice that she's getting pinned, or perhaps it's because she's just more focused on it's just a stupid spot. It really is. Like, she can't just roll to the side. She's so focused on the submission. And once again, this is Shayna Baszler, the girl who took out everyone in the Elimination Chamber at the beginning of last year. But we've forgotten about that. She's a tag team wrestler. Oh, but here she's a singles wrestler. And where was Nia Jax, by the way? She was nowhere to be found. Not like I'm saying that we need to hear her cut another one of her glorious promos. But once again, this is all over the place. Like, sacrifice Shayna getting beat, and then the win is quickly forgotten. Like, it's overridden because Shayna's still kicking her ass and choking her out. So why is Dana even granted a victory? Like, is there a reason, a purpose to this? No, there isn't. There's no reason for it. Then you have Orton and Ric Flair backstage. I don't know what we got out of this. He asked Flair to walk him down. Flair's not going to do it. He says that Charlotte is a better competitor than he's ever been. Okay, I don't think anyone believes that for 2 seconds. And I'm a Charlotte fan, by the way. But are you telling me that they want people to believe, to actually put that thought in people's mind, that Charlotte is anywhere close to Ric Flair? I don't think even the biggest Charlotte Flair fans believe that. So that was kind of ineffective. But there was good rapport between these guys. And Orton, like I said, during all these segments, he came off very heelish. His demeanor was excellent. I can't say that enough. I mean, Orton was better here than Roman Reigns. As far as everyone is praising Roman Reigns for his promos. And remember, guys, I'm the Roman Reigns fan. All the people that jumped on the Roman Reigns bandwagon like at the last minute, when he became the tribal chief, I was the one saying that Roman Reigns improved in 2016. And I said that Roman didn't deserve the hate. And Roman is not really doing a lot of good TV. This is what I've been saying. The tribal chief thing has potential. And there has been some good stuff with it. But only with the Jey Uso things. Everything with Kevin Owens has been absolutely terrible. So it's definitely overrated, to say the very least. So I'm just saying, Orton was more impressive here in promo-wise than Roman Reigns has been in almost a month. But that might not be his fault. There's not really a lot to work with Kevin Owens, but still, with the right ingredients, anything is doable. I truly believe that. So Orton defeats Jeff Hardy. I don't think there was any real reason to this match. It was a decent match, as you would expect from two veterans, two great wrestlers, but nothing special, nothing extraordinary. That's okay. Whatever. It's fine. It didn't have 1,000 high spots. It's competent wrestling, so I'll take it. But, like a clean win from Orton. No heel tactics, no nothing. Just cleanly beat Jeff. Jeff's been losing to Lashley. The Hurt Business didn't even involve this week. No run-ins, no nothing. Just a clean win. Okay. Lucha House Party defeats the Hurt Business. What do you think? A roll-up. Yep, that's right. Another roll-up. Why not, right? Beat him with a roll-up. You've got to be kidding me. Another roll-up. Like, we didn't have that in the Dana Brooke match. Like, we didn't have that in the Riddle match. How many roll-ups are we going to have per show? I mean, honestly, guys, like, you just put the tag titles on these guys. And Lucha House Party? Not only did you job out Miz and Morrison to these guys last week, now they move on to the tag team champions and they beat them. Don't tell me that they're and I get it, like this is supposed to be a division type of thing because, Lashley lost and also, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, they had a miscue. They were arguing about who they wanted to be in the ring and Lucha House Party capitalized on it. This is all very disinteresting because they're losing to a bunch of goofy luchadors that no one gives a shit about. Honestly, you have Shelton Benjamin. And this is the guy who eats the pin, by the way, mind you. Not Cedric. It's got to be Shelton. It's not like that this guy gave years of his career giving his body to WWE, doing some of the greatest, acrobatics that make some of the other ugly shit that these wannabes do. It makes them look like amateurs. And Shelton, this guy, he's in the best shape of his life. I mean, he got into this 10 years, 7 years, 8 years after he left, he returns, and he's in even better shape than when he left, which is amazing. And somehow, some way, he found himself back in a tag team, several tag teams, mind you, and he's in this lowly spot now where he's just a tag team champ again, but he's a champion that constantly loses. And not only just to anybody. Have him lose to somebody good. No, you have him lose to Lucha House Party. Oh, my God. Then we have a backstage segment. Tori Wilson is talking to Nikki Cross. And let me tell you something, guys. When I take a look at Nikki Cross and I look at Tori Wilson is like in a league of her own. You're seeing, Nikki Cross is like what they have now, and Tori Wilson is what they had then. And you see the clear drop-off here, because I get it, it's not about having Tori Wilsons anymore. Now we get, Nikki Crosses. Now I get it, we still have good-looking girls. We have Lacey Evans. We've got Dana Brooke. Who's probably not everyone's bag. I know it's mine, but it's not everyone's style. But people are attracted. Like, I'm just saying, like, you got Sasha Banks now, and Charlotte, where she's decent, but Tori Wilson, like, you have a perfect 10 there, and you don't get that anymore. And Tori Wilson is also older now too. She hasn't been there in 12 years. Okay, yeah, she made little appearances. I think she might have even been in the Royal Rumble, but you get my point. She's older now. Just the same thing with Trish Stratus. And why is it that they still look in a league of their own? This is embarrassing, and this is kind of what Jim Cornette even said. You get these guys in the ring, and you remember, like, a while back, I remember, like, when I first got here on YouTube, you notice how I said maybe we should have, like, some of the older wrestlers managing people? Remember I said that? Like, oh, why don't we have Ric Flair manage Dolph Ziggler? Remember I said that? And then someone wised me up to this, and then, kind of absorbing some ideas around me. And Cornette echoed this. You can't have these guys on the same screen, because what it does is it devalues your current talent. Now, that sends a message that your current talent needs a lot of work, but it really exposes the fact that none of the current guys hold a candle to any of the past guys. There's few exceptions, of course. There's people that have tons of potential that are just waiting to just, get their break, just get a fucking chance. People like Elias, you have several others, but come on. I mean, this is why you don't have these people on the screen with them. And this is another reason why. Because you're looking at Tori Wilson, you're looking at Nikki Cross, and if anyone has a question in their mind why people like Nikki Cross have trouble getting over, just take a look at this scene right here. Just take a look at any frame from this screen. You could look at it from any angle you want, any second of the frame, any millisecond, and you will see exactly why there's no replacing the legends. Or, even if you don't want to consider Tori to be a legend because she's not a great wrestler, just famous divas of the past, there's no replacing them. So you've got Angel Garza tries to give her a rose. She tells him that Cardi B and Ariana Grande are down the hall, and like a goofball, he believes it. So he goes into a room, and the boogeyman was there. And for some reason, like, they just couldn't be bothered to, like, do his music cue. They couldn't be bothered to, like, have any smoke or anything like they used to. No flashing lights. No. He just kind of comes up. And then when he runs out, R-Truth gets the pin on him. And then R-Truth goes skipping off with Tori and Nikki Cross. And then Ron Simmons comes with the damn, which I immediately laughed at. I still find that hilarious. That seriously, Ron Simmons back during the Ruthless Aggression era, that used to be one of my favorite parts of Raw, when he would just come out and do the damn. I mean, that is still just, it's funny, and I haven't seen it in a while, so that was good for me. So we what's good on this show? We've got Dana Brooke, for obvious reasons. We've got Damn, right? That was pretty good. Oh yeah, and there's Orton's promos. Even though they devalued their legends in the process, they were still well cut promos that were entertaining. And then finally, in the main event, we have Drew McIntyre defeating Keith Lee. And guys, I think it's now time that we stop with the Keith Lee stuff already. Look, Keith Lee's not bad or anything, but he's not great, and he's certainly not excellent, and he's certainly not devoid of being sent down to the Performance Center. This guy, by no means, is perfect. First of all, when the guy cuts these promos, I don't understand why they have him cut promos, because he's probably the worst promo guy I've heard in years. I've heard Vince Russo compare him to William Shatner with the type of talking that he does. It's the whole thing speaking. But I think it's also a disgrace to compare him to a legend like William Shatner. I mean, so I want to apologize to William Shatner for that. But holy shit, I mean, this guy is so overrated. I've been saying it for weeks now. I've been saying that, like, I don't see long-term main eventer coming from Keith. I see it in Drew. I see a seriously mismanaged champion in Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre has an incredible look that he will be there for a while, and they will recognize him as a main eventer for quite some time, hopefully. But I gotta tell you, like, this Keith Lee guy, there's no real future for this guy beyond the mid card, and I think you're gonna see that. After this, it's going to be back down in the ranks for him. There's not going to be a big WrestleMania match. They'll put him in the Royal Rumble. He'll get eliminated somewhere in the middle, maybe towards the end if they're nice. But do not expect a lot from this guy, because I don't see this guy offering a lot. And people will say, oh, well, that's your opinion. And yeah, it is my opinion. And I understand why you would disagree with that. But let's be perfectly honest here. The thing is, Keith Lee doesn't have a lot of longevity. There's not really a lot where they could go with this guy. There's not really a lot that they could do with this guy, right? I'm just saying, he doesn't really have a lasting appeal. I mean, he's big. He's a big guy. Okay. Just because you're big doesn't mean that you get an instant pass. And everyone seems to have this thing where they say that Vince McMahon likes all the big guys. You know how many big guys McMahon went through? Giant Gonzalez, and he got done with him really quick. He's never stayed consistent with all these big men. He gives them a try, and he's giving a lot of little guys a lot of tries too. So I don't know where people think like, oh, well, you know, they're all surprised that Keith Lee wasn't chosen because they think it's just a Vince thing. No, I don't think it's just a Vince thing. Vince might be off his rocker, and he might not know what the hell he's doing anymore. And that point is definitely a valid one. But I think it's a you problem if you're like really like confused of why they don't value Keith Lee anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, they did do this big segment where all the legends are watching, but I don't really see a lot in Keith Lee. I don't see it, guys, and I might be wrong, and maybe we'll see years and years of Keith Lee greatness, and he'll prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But I look at Keith Lee, and I don't see it. I just don't see it. All right, so I mean, like, seriously, this is a spot really where they should really give it to Sheamus, because I think he has. First of all, he's proven. Also, they've beaten him down for years and years, so I think he's long overdue for them to build him up. So, with that in mind, let's move on to after, you know, Drew hits him with the Claymore, out comes Goldberg. And it's outrage central on the internet because everyone's speculating that Goldberg is going to beat Drew at the Royal Rumble. And I don't know if he is. I don't think that he is. Maybe he will. I don't know. But the thing is, guys, like, I'd rather see Goldberg, and I'd rather see a broken down Goldberg than see Kevin Owens or anything. What this shows me is this shows that this is what they have to do, because there's no one on this roster who's over enough or brave enough to stand up and say, hey, I'm more deserving. Because you know what? There is no one on the roster more deserving than Goldberg. How do you like them apples? No, there's not. There's no one that's good enough to stand up. Yeah, there's Randy Orton and how many other people? How many people can you really stand there and say deserve a world title shot more than Goldberg? Because quite frankly, even at the age that Goldberg is, he looks more like a threat to Drew. He has more credibility than anyone. So that is really the case I'm going to make. Look, more than anyone, I would love to see them stop relying on these legends, because there's going to come a time when WrestleMania comes around where they're not going to be able to rely on Goldberg, just like with The Undertaker. Just like with Stone Cold Steve Austin for years now. Just like with The Rock. You know, even Triple H now. You know, it's he hasn't had a match in a few years, right? So he did have one in 2019, but he didn't wrestle at last year's WrestleMania, and I don't think he's going to be wrestling at this one either. So they can't keep on relying on these legends, but they wouldn't have to, right, if they had stars that were over. And I mean, that is WWE's fault, but that's also the talent's fault because no one speaks up, no one says anything, and that's why they have to keep on getting these legends in there because there's no one brave enough. Like, honestly, like, seriously, when is there going to be a writer or someone the caliber of Vince Russo? And I don't care how many people, say, like, oh, you always kiss Vince Russo's ass. No, seriously, when is there going to be a person who's going to stand up to McMahon and tell them that this shit sucks and it needs to stop? Until then, enjoy Goldberg at WrestleMania because they need to get someone in there who's going to make people actually watch. Because all the people that are complaining about Goldberg being there, they're all going to hate watch and watch Goldberg and Drew getting it on at the Royal Rumble. Okay? So there you go. All right? Am I going to hate on this? The only thing I am going to say is Drew McIntyre mentioning Goldberg's age. They need to... That they should have stayed clear of. Him saying that Goldberg is old enough to be his father, like, they really have to stay away from the age thing. Like with the Mickey James and the Alexa Bliss thing. They should never start talking about people's age and make that a main focal point of the story. Because you're going to just keep watching it saying, oh, it's an old man. And if Goldberg wins, it's going to be like, oh, the old man beat the young guy. And the young guy beat the old man. Like, okay, we need to stop with that already because that's not a good look. Try to get people's minds off of it. You could ask anyone, like in the wrestling business. Russo's talked about it. I think Cornette's even mentioned it. You never talk about anyone's age and make that a focal point because that's what people are going to be obsessing over. And that's what people do. So how about introducing another element to the story to maybe get people's minds off that? But yeah, like I said, this is how it will be. They will keep calling Brock Lesnar and they will keep calling in all Goldberg and all the other people because no one on this roster is in a position to draw anything. And, well, like I said, this is a circular problem because it comes right back to Vince and everyone else running this company. This is why you need to rely on these people because you have done a bad job at hiring stars, building stars, writing the show, booking the show. So, protecting stars, which is something you look at this show and you see no one getting protected. You even see the legends getting buried and not even in an effective way where it would do anything. But there you go, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the review. Because I really didn't enjoy this show. But I enjoyed doing the review for all you guys. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post on my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. I want to thank my new patron, Joshua Huffman. Thanks a lot. I greatly appreciate that. And thank you all for watching, as always. And I'll see you next time.